Hello, good morning and welcome to everyone for this CNBC Africa special. I'm Chris Bishop and welcome to our live coverage of the 60th edition of the Nigerian Bar Association's annual General Conference in Lagos. Now, the theme of this year's event is Step Forward. The conference represents one of the largest gatherings of lawyers on the continent and seeks to reposition the Nigerian bar to play a critical role in socio-economic and socio-political development. We cross now live to Lagos for the opening ceremony with my colleague Esther Awoni.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Esther Awoni, business anchor at CNBC Africa. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 2020 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. Now, this year's conference is a very special one because it's also the 60th anniversary celebration of the NBA, Africa's biggest and most influential network of legal practitioners. Let me also add that it's also the first ever virtual conference of the NBA with over 20,000 participants registered for this year's event. The theme for this year's conference is Stepping Forward, and we have a very long, rich, and robust lineup of guest speakers from the government, the private sector, and civil society who will be deliberating across 20 sessions. Once again, on behalf of the Nigerian Bar Association, I welcome you all. We'll kick things off now with the national anthem and the NBA prayer. Can I please have on the stage Mr. Joseph Chukwuebuka Egolu to take the national anthem, and after that we'll have also on the stage Mr. Daniel Onwe to take the NBA prayer.
Arise, compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youths the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow, and live in just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, our Creator, we pray you to be with us in all our deliberations and to direct our endeavor so that we shall continue in all humility to glorify thy name and do that which is right and just for our profession, its members, our fellow man, and our country. In Jesus' name we pray.
next, and this is a very interesting one also, I'm going to call onto the stage the fourth runner-up, the third runner-up, and of course the winner of the Nigerian Bar Association Annual General Conference Theme Song Competition. Now, I know there's so many people out there who may argue that lawyers can't sing, but after I saw all the videos, I saw the competition, I saw those who participated and the songs and how they sang it, wow. Anyways, welcome onto the stage with me, the fourth runner-up, Michael Joseph. Third runner-up, Babajide Olowoyeye. And the winner, Joseph Egolu.
My name is J12. Step forward. MBA. Step forward. Step forward. MBA. Step forward. MBA at 60. Step forward in style. The largest bar in Africa. Step forward in style. Happy anniversary. Step forward in style. Happy anniversary. Step forward in style. It's not easy to be 60. We've passed through a lot of hardship. We have courage to keep pushing. It will always end in victory. Excellence and integrity. Professionalism always. Yeah. MBA at 60. Step forward in style. The largest bar in Africa. Step forward in style. Happy anniversary. Step forward in style. Hey, happy anniversary. Step forward in style. MBA at 60. Step forward in style. The largest bar in Africa. Step forward in style. Happy anniversary. Step forward in style. Hey, happy anniversary. Step forward in style.
promote and preserve the rule of law, staying true to the people we serve. We reflect on our journey to the place where we are, and we know we have come a long way. Still we press forward on our journey
Yes, after that.
to reach the place of our dreams. Somebody say, whoa, let me hear you say, yes, we are the NBA, yeah. Lift your voice and sing with me, yeah. Somebody say, yes, it's time to step forward. Seasons come, seasons go. We are here. Times have come, times have gone. We remain. For 60 years we have kept the faith alive and strong. Now we deserve the diamond crown. From the north, south, east, and west, everybody sing, hey! Whoa, let me hear you say, yes, we are the NBA, yeah. Raise your voice and sing with me, yeah. Let me hear you say, yes, it's time to step forward.
I must say that in NBA, young and very talented lawyers are just wow. And for those who are still doubting, well, I rest my case. I think the songs speak for themselves.
We're here to bid you welcome. Ekabo. Welcome.
Welcome to the annual general conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. The theme for this year's event is Step Forward. We're making progress. Let's go quickly into the opening remarks. Can I please have on the stage Professor Koyin Ajayi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and the Chairman of the Technical Planning Committee.
Ladies and gentlemen, in formally welcoming all under the canopy of my voice, I greet the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari, using him as point of contact in establishing protocol salutations to all of us, and in particular the Chief Justice of the Federation, the governors of Lagos and Rivers State who are here with us today, as we step forward in joy of our Diamond Jubilee as a nation and 6 years of conferencing as a bar. This is a conference like another with about 50,000 eyes and ears watching, listening, and learning of an illustrious past, the immeasurable contributions of the bar to nation building, economic development, political emancipation, societal formation, peace, order, and good government, all fostered by justice and the rule of law. that which the NBA stands for. This is a conference where about 25,000 people will enjoy and luxuriate in the splendor that this conference brings to us as a profession, a people, a nation, and a race, while reflecting on a conference with many errors in planning, which has brought mews and cries of foul, of which I once again apologize, extending my hand of fellowship to all that are aggrieved on all sides of the debates, calling on our vision as a nation fostered by faith in one another, a nation built on unity and a diversity used for opportunity, and a nation in which we will have peace and progress. So again, I apologize to all our brothers and sisters up and down the country that feel offended by anything that I may have done as chairman of this planning committee, and indeed which MBA may have done to any one of us. The newsmaker this year is COVID-19. It has brought untold hardship and stepped back our economic gains and regressed our story of fame and fortune. To be or not to be was the question for this planning committee. How will it be? By serendipity, it brought us this virtual conference that truly steps forward into the digital age of compressed costs and time laced with precision and efficiency. Thank you to all the members of TCCP that made this happen. Thank you to the president of NBA and his executive that made this happen. We have doubled our numbers, charging nothing, and have an outstanding faculty of over 100. While history tells us that pandemics and lockdowns that follow them are not entirely new, the true brilliance of the human mind is a human capacity to innovate, to meet challenges, a testament to the will of human beings when we decide to step forward and meet our challenges as we have as a bar. We decided to be truly Niger and to be youthful, because it is the youth that represents the better part of the population. And so we picked from the work of one of the youth creatives in this country, from his lyrics, in picking our theme, Step Forward. And Mrs. Usoro has promised that she's going to gbese. So I'm going to call her very soon to the stage, and she will gbese. Or Mrs. Badijo Kusonya, you will be body. So the theme this year is simple yet packed with responsibility, because, we stand at crossroads where we see the ability of human beings to step forward in lightning speed to create a vaccine for COVID-19, to establish economic sustainability plan, which is seen from the office of the Vice President, another great lawyer like one of us. We've seen through this pandemic how simple endorsement by Justice Vivo in the Supreme Court of Nigeria, virtual hearings have become a reality in what we have today, leapfrogging justice delivery into the digital stage. We've seen a situation where we can do what we're doing today, where you're all sitting at home, working from home, and joining 25,000 others to this absolutely packed conference of knowledge, of learning, of history. We're here 60 years after, 60 years older as a nation, as a sovereign state, 60 years older as a bar in an independent country, 60 years of conferencing, 60 years in which we've brought winners to this country, 60 years in which we've exported chief justices to Botswana, Uganda, and other countries like that. 60 years in which we've sent Nigerian lawyers to International Court of Justice. 60 years in which we've produced vice presidents and speakers and ministers and people, all kinds of endeavor. 60 years in which we've helped to build this nation. 60 years in which we've fought oppression to a standstill. 60 years in which we've made democracy stand. So we're looking at these 60 years as we look forward to the next 60 years. Because you know what? In 60 years' time, we will be one of the third largest populations in the world. So what do we come here to do? To interrogate where we would be in 60 years' time. And what you would hear is the steps we need to take forward to make sure that in 60 years, we're not just one of the third largest countries in the world, but indeed, we are one of the largest economies in the world. We want to be one of the top 3 developing countries in the world. So this is what we're here to do today. Not just to celebrate, but to luxuriate in our future, to luxuriate in hope. Let us step forward as we look to a better tomorrow. Mr. President, please step forward. Thank you.
Professor Konya Jai, Chairman, Technical Planning Committee. Thank you very much, Professor. Can I please call onto the stage President of the NBA, Paul Usoro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to give his welcome address.
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My brother Coin has already set the protocol tone, but I must reinforce it. He acknowledged, and I also acknowledge, the president of our great country, which incidentally is celebrating 60 years with the Nigerian Bar Association. It's not the other way around. It's Nigeria that is celebrating 60 years with us, not the Nigerian Bar Association conferencing that is celebrating 60 years with Nigeria. Incidentally, Nigerian Bar Association is older than Nigeria itself. I also acknowledge the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our very distinguished colleague, in whom we are very proud of. And I'm referring to His Excellency Professor Yemi Oshibajo, GCON. I also acknowledge the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who has graced this occasion. He has honored us and he has joined us. This is not the first time that he has been with us. He's always with us. Last year when we had that epoch-making annual general conference, His Lordship joined us and made the conference very special for all of us. And I thank him again for joining us today, albeit virtually. I must also acknowledge our very distinguished colleague and the Chief Law Officer of the Federation. And I'm referring to the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. In my 2 years of shepherding the Nigerian Bar Association, I have had quite some support from all angles. But I must in particular mention the support that I have enjoyed from the Attorney General and his office. And I have to place that on record because in about another couple of days, I am going to join the ranks of my elders, past presidents of the Nigerian Bar Association. Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has been a great supporter of the initiatives that the Nigerian Bar Association has implemented in the last 2 years. And I welcome you, sir, to this epoch-making annual general conference. We have very many justices and judges, justices of the Supreme Court, justices of the Court of Appeal, judges of the state high courts, federal high courts, presidents of the industrial courts, national industrial courts. Of course, the presidents, and when we are talking about presidents, we have to distinguish which of the presidents we are talking about. We also have the president of the Court of Appeal, who has joined us
for this history-making annual general conference. To all of my lords, I welcome you. I thank you for sparing the time to be with us at this annual general conference. My colleagues, I will have a few things to say about you. My colleagues, both those in the outer bar and those in the inner bar. But first of all, let me talk about the celebration, which Koin Shola Jai has already given quite some elaboration about. He has mentioned the things that we are celebrating today. Quite a lot that we have to celebrate as Nigerian lawyers. We have more than simply the conferencing to celebrate. There are a couple of things that Coin missed out, not because he did not have it in mind, but maybe because he did not have the time to mention them. And I think I must mention them. It is also important at this time that I draw attention to those other things that we need to celebrate. And one of the critical ones that we must celebrate today is a united Nigerian Bar Association. Having an association is perhaps easy, but keeping it alive and united for 60 years, that could be challenging, and that is something that we should celebrate. We have a bar that is not only united, but is professional. It does not pander to ethnic considerations. It does not consider religious considerations. It is a professional bar. And that is something that we should celebrate. But more importantly, it is something we must always bear in mind. Because the people who would like to divide us, they do not let up. They would like to divide us. And we must not allow them to divide us. We must always remember that we are one united Nigerian Bar Association. We must not be divided. We must not be divided on ethnic lines. We must not be divided on religious lines. We must not be divided on class segmentation lines. We must remember that we are an association where indeed one is for all and all is for one. That is the association that we have and that has survived for the last 60 years. And that is sufficient cause. The association has survived for more than 60 years. It is the conferencing that we are celebrating 60th anniversary. But as an association, we have survived those things that threaten to divide the rest of us in Nigeria, and we must continue to ensure that those things do not come near us. We must continue to ensure that we stay one united bar association. The theme for this year is a rather interesting one. Step forward. It's more like a command. It's advising all of us, after 60 years of conferencing, to step forward. It reminds me, and if you join it with that of last year, then it tells you to step forward and face the future, not to be looking behind you. It reminds us of a saying that we have where I come from, where it says that if God wanted us always to be looking behind, he would have put eyes at the back of our heads. In the Almighty's wisdom, he decided that it was wise that we always look forward in unity. And that is why he placed our eyes exactly where they are. And so, this conference is calling on all of us to step forward and face the future. And make sure that in another 60 years, we will have even more things to celebrate by the grace of God. We saw how we started today with songs and dances. that is how we are going to continue singing songs and dances and celebrating not only the conferencing, but the survival of COVID. Incidentally, I must mention that COVID has taken some of us. Some of our judges have passed in the last couple of months. Some of our colleagues have passed in the last couple of months. It's rather unfortunate when we lose loved ones. And I think this is the right time that as a group, wherever we are, we should honor those departed of our colleagues. And we should give them a 1 minute of silence with all of us standing up wherever we are and giving them that 1 minute silence. May the soul of our departed colleagues rest in peace. And when I'm talking about our colleagues, I have in mind those who were also on the bench. I have in mind some who did not necessarily pass as a result of COVID-19. I have in mind Honorable Justice Ajana, the late Chief Judge of Kogi State, who was a chairman of one of our branches in his lifetime and before he joined the bench. I have in mind Honorable Justice Caribe White, who mentored and was a role model to most of us. His remains, incidentally, would be buried rather shortly. I have in mind my classmate, my good friend, Honorable Justice Okoronkwo of the a Justice of the Court of Appeal, who passed very recently and who is going to be committed to Mother Earth this weekend. I have in mind Honorable Justice Judo Keke, who was the chairman of Abuja branch before he joined the bench. There are so many that I cannot list all of them. I have in mind Honorable Justice Nabrama of Yobe States. And there are quite a number of others that time would not permit me to mention their names. We remember all of them today, and we would continue to honor their memory by making sure that we remain one united bar at all times. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making the time to join this conference. And please, for those who have not joined, by the way, some other thing that we have to celebrate. This is the first conference that the Nigerian Bar Association is having, as Koinshola mentioned, almost 25,000 delegates. In exact terms, we're about 22,000 delegates, and from all indications, by the time we join tomorrow, we're going to be up to 25,000 delegates. So tell your friends who have not joined us, tell them the celebratory time that we are having this morning. And that sets the tone and the tempo for all of what we're going to do. And very finally, I am in Lagos. I must acknowledge My Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, who is watching me and who has supported me at all times in all that the Nigerian Bar Association has been doing. Your Excellency, you are very special, and you are a gift to the Nigerian Bar Association. We thank you so very much. And we, of course, also thank all other dignitaries who have always been with us and who have always been a part of the success story of the Nigerian Bar Association. We also acknowledge our colleague, a life bencher, Governor Nyesom Wike, who is represented by his Attorney General, our very good colleague and friend, Dr. Zacchaeus Anyanko. We thank you for representing His Excellency, and we thank His Excellency also for being with us. Please give His Excellency our very warm regards. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please sit back. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Enjoy the conference. We have a lot in store for you. And it's going to be 2 days of packed activity. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, the COVID-19 has been a big disruptor, but we will continue to step forward. That was the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Paul Usoros, senior advocate of Nigeria. In the next few minutes, we are going to take some welcome remarks from our very special guest. Please welcome with me His Excellency, the Governor Nyesom Wike, Executive Governor of Rivers State, ably represented by Dr. Zacchaeus Anyanko, Honorable Attorney General of Rivers State.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Rivers State, ably represented by the Attorney General of Rivers State, you are live and we are ready to take your remarks. Thank you.
Please permit me to adopt the protocol already well set out by the Masters of Ceremony. For the record, my name is Professor Zacchaeus Adango, Attorney General of Rivers State. I'm representing His Excellency. I bring you warm greetings and felicitations from His Excellency Nyesom Wike, CON, GSSROS, Governor of Rivers State, who would have loved to be here to address this August assembly, but is unable to do so because of other pressing state engagements. He has therefore most respectfully directed me to represent him and deliver this short welcome address. The NBA Annual General Conference 2020 was originally scheduled to hold at Port Harcourt, Rivers State, but the COVID-19 pandemic forced the leadership of the bar to change the form of this year's conference from in-person conference to virtual conference in accordance and in compliance with extant COVID-19 regulations and other protocols. The 2020 Annual General Conference of the NBA is unique in several respects. First, as far as we are concerned, it is the first online or virtual conference ever held in the history of the NBA. Second, it is the last Annual General Conference to be hosted by the Paul Usoros-led National Executive Committee of the bar. And thirdly, it marks the Diamond Jubilee of the annual conference, which is the age of bliss. As an association, we may not have achieved all that we set out to achieve, but because we are all resolved to step forward, there is hope for the future. It is important to remind us that we are not only the single largest professional association in Nigeria, and indeed in Africa, but more importantly, each and every one of us carries a unique responsibility to defend and protect the poor, the weak, the downtrodden in society, against all forms of injustice, oppression, harassment, and intimidation, whether in the public or private space. We should be determined more than ever before to continue to render this unique service, not only in our own interests, but in the interests of the larger society. This conference offers us a unique opportunity to contribute and shape national discourse on the burning issues of national identity, citizenship, and indigenship. It is our fervent belief and hope that at the end of this conference, the country will benefit from the clash of new ideas as to the means and ways of building a more united, more integrated, a more prosperous country where no one shall be oppressed, shall be victimized, or shall be intimidated on account of his ethnic nationality, sex, or religion. On behalf of the government and people of Rivers State, we wish you all a very fruitful 2020 NBA National General Conference. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, please welcome His Excellency, Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State.
Thank you very much. I want to formally thank and acknowledge all of the distinguished participants at this year's 60th NBA conference. I think the protocol has been well laid down by both the chairman of the planning committee and the NBA president himself. And indeed, I want to adopt those protocols given the era that we probably don't have the opportunity to know everybody that's in the room. So I want to stand on existing protocol. It's with great pleasure that I address you for the very first time during a virtual annual general conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. This virtual format is, of course, a reminder of the times that we're all in, faced with one of the most serious health challenges of our lifetime. Let me start by acknowledging members of the outgoing executive of the NBA and congratulate you on the very successful completion of your service to one of the foremost esteemed professional associations in the country. I remember last year when you made attempts, and a very successful one, to bring together the largest NBA real-time conference in Lagos. We did, acknowledge at that time that what you were doing was you were bringing about 10,000 delegates at that conference. When indeed, even this year, you have doubled that number, and like I heard, you're expecting about 25,000 participants at this year's conference. I also want to thank you for the invitation that you extended to me this morning. But I would also like to put on record to congratulate your incoming executive as they prepare to assume office and lead this association, a very distinguished one, like I mentioned, for the next 10 years. I'm sure elections are behind us, and what you will be expecting of them is service and great leadership. The theme for this year's conference is Step Forward. It is very fitting indeed. And like both Professor Koinsola and Paul Osoro, both SAN had said, it's a reflection of what has happened the last 60 years and what you need to begin to take forward for the next 10, 20, and 60 years and beyond. And we're all where we are today, facing a global pandemic and facing serious global challenges. When we started this year, nobody imagined it will turn out this way, with the lockdowns and restrictions that has affected every part of our life, but we're all still moving on. Many of us have gotten used to doing worship, to doing social events, and even work virtually. And so this conference is not an exception to that. The legal profession, certainly, given the space that it holds as a foremost professional body in the country, has also seen some new dimensions. A couple of months, we've seen virtual court sittings, we've seen even sentences, virtually, and it certainly has reflected onto the real challenges that we all face as individuals. We've also had to adjust to a series of disruptive tendencies as our way of life and as a government. And so, like what Professor Koinsola said, as we step forward for the next 10, 20, 60 years, it's therefore apt that we look and we consider, how do we do the stepping forward at various levels? He had admonished and said that we need to step forward and see, even as Africa, as Nigeria, right, how do we begin to vaccinate our citizens? What kind of model, what kind of research do we need to have as we step forward to be able to bring about a solution to COVID-19? And for me, even watching CNN last night and early this morning, it's interesting to note that a solution that we had started in Lagos about 4 or 5 months ago, which we'll call the convalescent plasma, meaning that we've been able to separate the red blood cells from the white blood cells and using the strong antibodies in the white blood cells for very, very severe COVID-19 patients, and which has all of a sudden increased and improved their antibodies and immunity, and they've gotten well. It's interesting to know that America is just getting to understand that, and they are talking about plasma. That for me is real stepping forward. That for me is what step forward truly, really it's about. Step forward means that how do I bring about clear fiber connectivity to all the 25 million listeners and delegates that would have to virtually connect to the NBA 2020 conference. And so for us as a government, stepping forward meaning that we need to develop a metropolitan fiber connectivity, which we have started, a 6,000 kilometer, and we're ring-fencing Lagos with fiber optics, and ensure that this new normal, this new reality that we have, you can indeed have 25,000 people with no disruption, with internet connectivity, and bringing the cost down for them to be able to afford it, and have access to it. In my view, that is what our stepping forward should bring. But more importantly, what should stepping forward mean for the NBA? Like Professor Koinsola have also said, you are older than Nigeria, you're a big brother to Nigeria in terms of age. You are celebrating your 60th before Nigeria. So you need to show Nigeria real leadership. You need to show Nigeria that indeed you're a big brother. You need to show and take over and take your rightful position in the Committee of Nations and drive this country very well. I keep saying to a lot of people that when you want to do good business, get a good lawyer. When you want to do good policy, get a good lawyer. Everything starts, well, maybe not end, but it starts around you. And so for me, is to charge you that as you step forward to that real leadership that you have called yourself. That real leadership that you have said that indeed you are older than Nigeria, and nobody will contest that with you. And I want to say that indeed, we in Lagos are always truly delighted that you continue to give us this opportunity. We know that our Ministry of Justice is the biggest law firm in the country, and will continue to raise the bar and will continue to give them the ability for them to excel in that profession. Both also with the justices, we know how many we have in the state, and we'll continue to improve on those numbers so that that industry, that sector that we truly, really believe needs stepping forward. Our government will continue to give you that enabling environment for you to do well and do what you need to do. And so I want to congratulate you. I want to admonish you. I want to say to you that we will be watching by the side as the Nigerian Bar Association indeed take that leadership position of stepping forward. And I wish you the very, very, very best of your 60th NPA annual conference. I thank you very much for inviting me, and I yield the floor back to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State. Please welcome with me Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by Dayo Apata, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Solicitor General of the Federation.
And please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. The Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN, sends his apologies for his inability to attend this opening ceremony. He is presently at the Federal Executive Council to attend to some national matters as it relates to some memos which he supposed to deliver to present today on behalf of the federal government. And he has already, while sending his apology, he also sent his greetings and has already directed me to make this a short remark for the opening ceremony. On behalf of the Federal Ministry of Justice, the official bar, let me register my sincere appreciation to the leadership of the bar and the 2020 TCCP for the opportunity to be part of this special AGC, which is quite historical by all consideration, especially for being the 60th edition, which is Diamond Jubilee, and the first virtual AGC in the history of NBA. I felicitate with the president, all past presidents, and entire members of our foremost association on this milestone. It is also apt at this point to say congratulations to the president-elect, Olumide Akpata. Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished colleagues, the compelling evidence before us confirms that the NBA has come a long way to occupy a pride of place in the social, economic, and political dynamics of our nation, as well as among other professional bodies operating in Nigeria. It gladdens my heart that our association and justice sector have risen above the first major limitations or challenges imposed upon us by COVID-19 pandemic. This virtual conference and the virtual court proceedings, which we adopted and have underscored our commitment to keeping the wheels of development in motion. At the onset of the lockdown measures, my office set the ball rolling by engaging the attorneys general and chief judges of the state by impressing it upon all stakeholders on the need to take advantage of deploying ICT tools to aid virtual proceedings amid other measures to keep our courts substantially open, and also make proactive measures targeted at setting the pace for a post-COVID-19 justice system. My office will continue to drive the much needed legal reforms in promoting the rule of law, accomplishing full financial autonomy for the state legislators and state judiciaries, and also revigorating the office of the Attorney General of the Federation as the Chief Law Officer. The foregoing will continue to serve as a catalyst for the modest gains being recorded by my office, which includes the recent recovery of $301 million loot, which is being plowed into some critical national infrastructures. We are also putting in place measures to prevent mismanagement and reoccurrence. I need to emphasize that NBA needs to rise above all restrictions and step forward by weighing more positively on the lawmaking process and the administration of justice generally, as to bolster its preeminent position as the conscience of the nation. Step forward as a team for this Diamond Jubilee Conference is apt and is also a clarion call for us to step out of our comfort zone, leverage on available resources, and take positive actions and positions that will galvanize democratic and economic progress as well as good governance for all and sundry. It must be mentioned that the present regime, ably led by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, has in its deserving areas invoked the instrumentality of the law leading to the introduction of executive orders. This is aimed at directing for deeper and effective implementation of our laws and regulations in line with current realities, and at the same time, it is expected to give birth to an organized system of governance. To this end, there is need for better and clearer understanding of what executive order connotes. Though the term executive order lacks interpretation and does not enjoy any general acceptable definition, we can still say that executive order policy directive, these are directives which determine how and in what manner to implement or enforce an existing and legal regime on the basis of, in line with the Constitution and other statutory provision. It is therefore pertinent to note that executive orders have significant influence over the internal affairs of government, deciding how and what degree legislation will be enforced in dealing with emergencies and other vital areas of life in general, and in fine-tuning policies choice in the implementation of broad statutes, and at the same time is only exercisable by the government, by the president. Under our judicial system, the president's authority to issue an executive order must flow from the Constitution and an act of National Assembly. A executive order is therefore a presidential policy guide issue to direct or instruct the action of executive agencies or public officers with respect to an existing law. This year, AGC has laid out pertinent and timely topical issues for discussion in the light of the fact that the President has employed the instrumentality of presidential executive order in driving its legacy programs. The scheduled discourse on executive orders is most welcome development. Other pertinent issues bordering on virtual court hearings, citizenship, national security, gender-based violence, digital economy, all points to irresistible conclusion that AGC has come with promising positive and relevant outcome. At this junction, I must mention also that the judiciary has also commendably responded positively to the realities of post-COVID-19 justice delivery. It must be underscored that our judiciary has embraced the use of information technology in its processes since 2012, when the Supreme Court of Nigeria introduced electronic filing. In similar vein, National Judicial Council, through a circular, issued a guideline for court sittings and related matter in the COVID era. The guideline has been adopted by some state high courts, many of which have also issued practice directions to enable the effective innovation application of technological tools in the administration of justice system. Once again, I commend the organizers of this virtual conference for their innovative job and wish our guests and participants a most rewarding, enabling experience. Once again, thanks for offering me this privileged platform to make the following remarks. Once again, and I congratulate all delegates in attendance of this exceptional conference. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you indeed, sir. That was the Solicitor General of the Federation, Dayo Akpata, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, ably representing the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And now for our special address, please welcome with me Honorable Dr. Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, CFR, the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Governor Wike, Governor of River State, ably represented, the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, the President of the NBA, Paul Osoro. Please permit me to adopt the protocol as laid down by previous speakers. It is with great delight that I welcome all delegates to this landmark and epochal General Conference of the NBA. And indeed, the first ever virtual NBA AGC conference, despite the COVID-19 pandemic that has almost disrupted activities worldwide over the year. I must sincerely applaud the NBA for its leadership in these tough times and for the support it is always given to the judiciary, especially in these very difficult times when all the sectors of our country have been hit by the adverse effects of the pandemic. The mere fact that we are all gathered here today, albeit virtually, for this conference further exemplifies the doggedness of the bar under the able leadership of Mr. Paul Osoro, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, with whom we have enjoyed and continue to enjoy an excellent collaborative relationship, especially the National Judicial Council and the various benches. I must also congratulate the bar for putting together a quality conference of this nature. It is evident from the array of speakers lined up in the program and the theme of the conference. That is a step forward which is more of a challenge for all of us in the justice sector, on the need to improve our legal practice and the justice administration so that we can be leading the light for the nation, the African continent, the world at large. It is no coincidence that our nation, Nigeria, and the NBA are both celebrating a Diamond Jubilee, that is 60 years anniversary in the same year. That further underscores the fact that the bar is and remains the leading light of the nation, setting the pace of growth, development, and indeed national integration. The Supreme Court, and by extension, the Nigerian judiciary, has fared well in the year, even though the horizon was literally blighted by overwhelming challenges occasioned by the adverse effects of the coronavirus. The prayers, advice, and support of all well-meaning Nigerians largely gave us the impetus and the courage to remain firm and resolute in making an indelible mark, reposition our modus operandi by fully entrenching the digitalization of our processes, such as electronic filings of processes, virtual court sittings, etc., etc. On the 23rd of March 2020, I issued a circular directing all heads of courts to suspend physical court sittings with the aim of proactively ensuring that our courtrooms do not become vectors for the spread of the coronavirus disease. However, some courts were allowed to sit over matters that were mostly urgent and time-bound. After the circular, a committee was constituted, headed by Mr. Justice Bode Rhodes Bible, a justice of the Supreme Court, to draw up guidelines and measures that will enable safe court sittings during the period of the pandemic. It was on the basis of the committee's work that I issued the guidelines on the 7th of May 2020 that was subsequently adopted and published as practice directions by some state high courts, such as in Borno, Lagos, Ogun states, among all other states. The Federal High Court, National Industrial Court, and the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. These judiciaries issued technology-friendly practice directions for effective and timely justice delivery in the circumstance of the novel situation brought upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic. I choose to highlight this elevating adjustment by the judiciary to illustrate the fact that we in the judiciary are also doing all that is necessary to step forward innovative possibilities in ensuring that justice delivery to all without fear of favor, affection, or ill will remains uninterrupted and consistent. Virtual court sittings and the electronic filing of processes are but parts of the whole. The whole being a fully digitalized justice administration sector. That remains the goal of the NJC. I must here place a record the consistent support and the encouragement that we have been enjoying from the Polo Soro-led MBA in our goal towards the full digitalization of the judiciary. Some of the NBA representatives, including Mr. Soro, were members of the Honorable Justice Ross Bibles Committee. They have contributed most constructively to the work of the committee. We owe them, and indeed all the members of the committee, that of gratitude. It is very important that I welcome all the speakers of this year's NBA agency, including but not limited to the keynote speaker for the conference, Mr. Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and also a lawyer. I enjoin all participants at this year's conference to take full benefit of the intellectual discourse that will be engaged during the course of this two-day conference. I must also use this opportunity to encourage lawyers to continue to uphold with candor and humility their roles as ministers in the temple of justice. The strict adherence to the tenets of the rule of law is a sine qua non for any society. It's not a luxury, howsoever. Indeed, justice that is governed by the rule of law remains the handmaiden true peace in any society. The bar plays a major role. The bar must eschew the filing of frivolous processes which constitute abuse of court process, particularly when the law is well settled and developed on the issues in contention. Those are the filings that clog the court's docket and delay the time of administration and the translation of justice. We must step forward and abandon those dilatory things, processes, and or actions. Let no one be in doubt that the judiciary under my watch will continue to uphold the tenets of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, the supreme law of the land. The bastion of every democracy across the world will be strictly observed in all our processes of justice dispensation and administration. The rights of every citizen against any form of oppression and impunity must be jealously guided and protected with the legal tools at our disposal. All binding court orders must be obeyed, and nobody, and I repeat, nobody, irrespective of his or her position, will be allowed to try for judgments. It is our collective responsibility to show the required commitment to the full enthronement of the rule of law as we know it. No flagrant disobedience of court orders or non-compliance for judicial orders, which is a direct invitation to anarchy in the society, shall be allowed. Certainly, under our watch, we will not sit idly by not watching, no watch while the rule of law is being trampled upon or circumvented for any reason whatsoever. On behalf of the Nigerian judiciary, I welcome all the invited guests, speakers, panelists, and delegates to the NBA 60th Annual General Conference. And I urge all to join the NBA in stepping forward to a new era of innovative possibilities. I thank you all for your time and attention. Thank you.